Right, so I made a video a few months back explaining how I was having trouble with my motorcycle's turning indicators. So I've made a diagram here indicating that this side is going to be the battery side, this side is going to be the lights side. I made a diagram because I'm a screw up. I will screw up in some way. So this just helps me plan ahead. Now, this is the old light socket. I do not know where exactly it's faulty, whether it's here or here, but I've bought one online for pretty cheap. Now, so if I were to lay it out like this, instantly you're going to see a problem. The problem is the original, that is a green, and that cable there is a black and white. Okay, it's a little bit off screen. Now, I did some digging online and found that the green corresponds to the positive, and the black and white corresponds to the negative. So I'm just going to label it here red, black, and then green and black, white. And obviously the same for the other side that corresponds to the battery side. So that's red, black, green, black and white. So now that I know what corresponds to what connection, over here I have the aftermarket socket. I bought this off Shopee. I think I paid about $2.10 for it. Okay, so obviously this one, the red corresponds to the red and the black with the black. However, you will see a problem, another problem. This socket over here, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got these, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it's got these grooves along here, which then go into the socket. Now let's have a look at the original. Have a look at that. They've got these grooves here that when plugged into the lamp, you twist it and it stays in place. I cannot find the exact same socket online other than buying Suzuki's socket. So I had to make a couple of cuts over here, okay, just so that everything stays in place. I can twist it a little bit and it will stay in place because of this rubber washer right here. Next thing to take note is the connection where the bulb will go in. Now take a look at the original. You see these two grooves here. This is where the bulb goes in. I happen to have the bulb over here. Okay, it goes in like that. Nope, the other way. And you give it a little twist and the bulb stays in place. Now this is a Y shape. Okay, have a look at the bulb. This notch, these notches over here, they form a Y shape, something like that. Okay, and the socket that I bought online also has the Y shape. Now be aware that some sockets online are 180 degree sockets. So then you will need to buy the 180 degree connections. Okay, they'll be labeled, this one is the Y shape, so it will be labeled as P21 with a Y in the name of the model of this bulb. Don't know if you can see it from here. It's not very clear, but it says PY21 watts. Now these connectors over here, we've got the male, we've got the female. They've already come pre-connected with the red and black cables, so that's easy. I bought a bundle of 5. I think they cost me $8.30. So a bundle of 5 is good because if you screw up one, you can always start again. And they've got these little rubber grommets on the inside. that help keep everything waterproof. Okay, so you just have to line them up eventually when you need to connect the appliance. How do you connect these to these and this to the battery side? I can't show you the battery, obviously. I can't show you the motorcycle. It's not with me at my desk. But we're going to have to connect these, and to do that, okay, we're going to take the wires. Okay, we need to strip these, or I don't know, that's too little, maybe a bit more, maybe just half a centimeter more. And then we are going to connect these with these shrink tubes. So I bought these online, also on Shopee, $8 for 20 pieces. I think that's 20 pieces. Okay, so you're going to screw this up probably, so I would practice this on something else. And so how this works is, obviously I need to just strip that wire there, and then one's going to go in here and the other will go in here. Let's assume that's been cut. And so here is where I will need a heat source, something like a heat gun. How it works is that these bits here are basically glue. They'll melt and then stick to the cable's insulation, and then the silicone bits are just going to shrink. And then I've got lead solder which will melt with the heat gun, and then when it melts it will just combine the two copper filaments, not filament, the two copper wires together. Just something to note, you could use a hair dryer, but typically it's going to take a long time, maybe 20 minutes of heating in order to get that up to temperature. You could use a candle. Just go really slowly. You might want to grab tweezer, and then that candle is going to heat up this whole length. Use that candle, but not too close, because what's going to happen is that it's going to produce like a black soot on the outside, which makes it hard to see what's going on the inside. It comes off eventually. It can rub off, but it's best if you could borrow someone's heat gun. It will be really good. So I've gone ahead and stripped the cables here. I use these. They're not expensive. You can get them $5 to $15, and they can be used for things around the house as well if you ever need to change a plug somewhere. These ones are really heavy duty. They crimp, they cut, and they also strip wires. You've got these several adjusters to tell you how much of a cut or how much of a strip do you want to make. A small thing to note, that when you're buying these shrink tubing, is to make sure you get the right size. So on the label or online, I was able to buy shrink tubing appropriate for 22 to 18 gauge, which just so happens to be what these are. They're about 18 to 22 gauge. Because if this were too large, the internal diameter is too large, it will just slip over it, yes, but it doesn't make as much contact with the cable, and so it will probably just slip out one day. That's not what you want. Another thing to note is that after you use your after you use your heat gun, you want to let it cool down. Let it cool down, because when that silicone is still hot, it sort of expands and pulls easily and goes out of shape, which will then it will just break off. So let it cool down, and that's really hot as well. Let it cool down. Once it's cooled down sufficiently, it won't pop off so easily. Now you could ask, why not just get the original Suzuki socket? The Suzuki socket, one of these I think is about $50 a minimum. I do not know how much Guanho charges for the socket, but that's not the only problem. The problem is here, this connector here, the female on the battery side. I do not know if that one's faulty or broken or not. So I may as well replace them with these. So this female connector here that goes to the battery side needs to make way for the new one. I've used the shrink tube here as best as I could. Due to the stresses, it's a little bit crooked. It's not my best work, but it will have to do for now, because if I wanted to fix it, I would have to cut that again, and I don't want to do that. And just letting it cool down, because when it's hot, it's still malleable, if that's the right word. So if I go and pull it right now, it'll just come off again. Now it's cooling down and hardening. Let's come back. Alright, so I've got them connected. The bulb is in. Now let me just put it back in the lamp. Alright, lamp housing is on, connected. Alright, let's see. Here we go. There we go. Lights on. And light is on. Emergency indicators. Alright. They blink at the same time.